In a country of over 104 million people, Egypt is planning to shift its capital from Cairo to a new city. With its rich history, ancient wonders, and bustling streets, Cairo has served as the capital and largest city of Egypt for centuries. But what lies behind this ambitious move? And can it truly achieve this vision? In this video, we'll explore the real reasons behind the Egyptian government's decision to move its capital and investigate whether this risky endeavor will be successful or not. The landscape we're looking at has drastically changed since 2015. The Egyptian government has embarked on a remarkable transformation, constructing an entirely new capital city right in the heart of the desert. However, you might be wondering why they chose such an unfavorable location for this ambitious project. If you've ever used Google Maps for navigation, you've likely seen those color-coded traffic maps. Green roads indicate little to no traffic, while red indicates heavy congestion. That is how Cairo appears on those maps at rush hour. Traffic has become a significant problem, reflecting the broader challenges of the city's growth. Out of Egypt's 104 million inhabitants, around 20 million reside in the metropolitan area of Cairo. Unlike many other capital cities, where government buildings are concentrated in one area for efficient collaboration, Egyptian ministries are scattered throughout Cairo. This decentralization leads to long distances, congestion, and severe pollution. Even when ministries are relatively close, such as around Tahrir Square, the infrastructure is overwhelmed. Not only are there ministries in the vicinity, but also the Egyptian parliament, which requires heightened security and sometimes needs to be cordoned off. Adding to the complexity is the Mogama, the main administrative building in Egypt, where citizen requests are processed. All of these factors, combined with Cairo's already rapid growth, create immense pressure on the city. The population of Greater Cairo has been increasing at an unprecedented rate, outpacing the city's ability to expand naturally. This trend isn't limited to Cairo alone. The entire country's population is growing faster than the global average. The Egyptian government perceives this as a significant threat to the nation's prosperity. When it comes to housing, most of Egypt's habitable areas are concentrated along the Nile and the Nile Delta. These regions offer water for agriculture and industry, along with milder climates and fertile soil. However, the Sahara Desert dominates the rest of the country, with a sparse population distribution. The space available for cities to expand has reached its limits, exacerbating the water supply problem since Egypt heavily relies on the Nile for fresh water. Water scarcity is already a pressing issue in Egypt, and the government considers its dependence on the Nile as a national security concern. To tackle these challenges, the Egyptian government initiated a campaign called Two is Enough to discourage families from having more than 2 children. They have also made contraceptives more accessible and affordable. However, despite these efforts, the reality of population growth necessitates additional solutions. As a result, Egypt has turned to building new cities in the desert. This strategy has been employed since the 1970s to alleviate the strain on Cairo. Several new cities have already been established around the capital, such as the 10th of Ramadan city, the 6th of October city, and many more. However, the current project stands out as the most ambitious one to date, a brand new capital city emerging in the desert. This new administrative area aims to consolidate all government ministries along one central axis, promoting efficient collaboration. It will also incorporate cultural and economic elements, with sports centers, universities, office buildings, and high-rise towers. The goal is to create a global city that can address Egypt's domestic challenges while projecting its future globally. The design draws inspiration from ancient Egypt, traditional Islamic architecture, and other international influences. By fostering innovation and boosting the economy, Egypt aims to position itself as a prominent player on the global stage. Since the 1970s, Cairo has witnessed the development of massive new projects aimed at alleviating the strain on the capital city. Construction of the 10th of Ramadan city began in 1977, followed by the 6th of October city in 1979 and New Cairo. The largest project began construction in 2000. These cities were not merely suburban areas, but rather new metropolitan areas with their own local economies, intended to relieve Cairo's housing demands. The government is currently building an entirely new capital to the east of Cairo and New Cairo. This new administrative area will house all the ministries of the Egyptian government, consolidating them along a central axis. The Cabinet Building, located at the center of this axis, will serve as a meeting place for government ministers to coordinate their work. At one end of the axis, there will be a circular development housing various national institutes, including the Post Office headquarters and the Egyptian Central Bank. On the other end, People Square will be established, featuring the world's largest flagpole and open theaters. A large arc building, the Unknown Soldier Monument, will anchor this square, paying tribute to fallen soldiers and drawing inspiration from pharaonic architecture. Additionally, the People Square is likely to be the venue for future military parades. The Egyptian Parliament's two chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate, will be situated on the other side of the square. To the north of this area will be the Presidential Palace, serving as the residence of the head of state of Egypt and symbolizing the country's political power. One remarkable aspect of this new capital is the octagonal complex comprising 10 buildings, which will serve as the headquarters for the Egyptian Ministry of Defense, the Egyptian military, and associated control, analysis, and data centers. When completed, this defense complex will be the largest in the world, surpassing the United States Pentagon. The buildings within this circular defense district will cater to the needs of employees and military personnel, providing residential units, places of worship, hotels, schools, hospitals, and administrative services. Numerous places of worship, including mosque and a Coptic Orthodox cathedral, have been built in the new capital. The city is also witnessing the establishment of several universities, including international institutions, as well as the creation of Knowledge City and Knowledge Hub areas to foster innovation. The central business district of the new capital will showcase office and high-rise buildings, including the iconic tower, which will become the tallest building in Africa upon completion. Plans for an even taller building called Obelisko are already in motion, with its design drawing inspiration from an ancient Egyptian obelisk. If completed in 2030, Obelisko will be the tallest building in the world. To accommodate housing needs, the master plan includes 20 residential centers, each with a distinct architectural style. 6 of these centers are already largely completed, spanning the entire length of the city. A park 6 times the size of New York's Central Park, known as the Green River Park, will provide recreational space and foster social activities. Alongside the park, an artificial river will be created, reminiscent of the Nile that flows through the current capital, Cairo. The new capital distinguishes itself from the historically densely populated city of Cairo. It embraces planned city principles, bridging vast distances with well-connected highways that link its modern districts. The project draws inspiration from various cultural influences, such as ancient Egypt, Islamic architecture, American-style suburbs, and French architectural styles in different residential zones. This eclectic mix reflects the project's overarching goal of becoming an international city. However, the construction of a new capital city in the desert is a response to the challenges posed by Cairo's rapid growth and the country's increasing population. It is an ambitious endeavor to overcome infrastructure problems, alleviate congestion, and ensure long-term sustainability for Egypt's future.